Resource Committee meeting to order, please. Brother Joe, do you want to case?
Yes, I will. Stand. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day of life. Thank you, Father, for all your blessings, your health and watch care over us. And Father, blessing us as a people, keeping us safe. Thank you for the rain, knowing that you know all things, and you give us blessings, and you know when we get enough. And Father, I pray that you'll be with our chairperson today, be with each one here in this committee. Bless those in our audience. Help us, Father, do good work for our people. I pray you'll forgive us where we fail and continue to bless us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stokes.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Charlie Buzzard.
Here.
Juliet Coates. Here. Bradley Cobb.
Honey.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Cody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Rayleigh. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Glory Jordan. David Thornton. Kara Callum Watts. John Masters. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like approval of the April 13 minutes.
I'll have. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Thank you. We'll move on down to reports. Management Resources, Jack Farmer.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, Council. I sent our report to you previously, and I'll be happy to, I don't have any additions to the report. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have at this time.
Do you have any questions for Jack? No questions, Jack.
Thank you.
sir.
Jack, I'd like to talk to you in a second.
Sure.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I'd like to amend the agenda to add an item 3, which will be in support of the Boys and Girls Clubs all over 14 counties to receive some OJT funding. And we'll want to move it to full council like the third form of motion.
Second.
No discussion, please. No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yes, Julie? Moving on, we move on to the real estate services. Linda Donaldson.
Good afternoon. You have my short report in your packet. I do want to report that as of Wednesday last week, the Catoosa 7 acres went into trust. So we will be working on finalizing those paperwork, but we do have our trust deed on file in Claremore, the county courthouse. So one more down. So the patent tract, it is getting closer to getting finalized on it as well. They're working on that in D.C. to try to get that all wrapped up. It's in their attorney's hands to finalize positions. The environmentals have all passed. We got the clearance from the Eastern Regional District that approved the environmentals as no significant findings. So we have all that ready, and we're just waiting on the final piece. So, and Kara's not here. She always asks about the Claremore one, and they are working on the Claremore building as well. The only question they're asking at this point is, can they give it to us in trust as opposed to just give it to us in fee? So we're asking them to see if we can get it in trust, and if we can, we want it that way. But if we can't, we'll take it in fee. We just want the building. And that's my report.
Councilman Garvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you tell us any kind of where that 7 acres is located?
It's not too far from the casino. It's kind of a couple miles up the road. And
Like
it's where,
west on the highway?
it's where a truck stop had been,
Oh, I know.
and it had tornado took it away, and I think there's a truck stop across the street from it now, so you know where it is.
Right next to Bruce's.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Councilman Fisher.
Yeah, how are you all? And the boys was in here with you the other day standing on the trespassing.
We're working on that, and we're setting up a meeting with Diane Hammond's office to get more of that work done. So, and we are taking into consideration the issues that were brought up last time.
Okay, can you tell us what you're doing for contact center?
Yeah, we'll have more then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Baker.
Okay, thank you.
Sweet. Thank you, Evan. Roads and Transportation, Michael Land.
Good afternoon. I believe you should have my report in your council packets as well. Some of the things I'd just like to highlight real quick is we're still waiting on the details of the stimulus funding to be worked out, as well as waiting to hear exactly what our allocation is going to be. We haven't got that word yet. We do have a few projects on hold that are scheduled to be funded with those dollars. That as soon as all the contracting details and the funding details are all worked out, we will be ready to proceed on those. Want to mention that we recently completed a small project over in Muskogee County in the Morning Star Edition. That was a project where we worked, Housing Edition. We worked with David Sutherland's group on some NAHASDA funds that he had. I haven't actually personally seen the project, but one of my staff went over there and did a final inspection on it, said it really looked good. So said the Commissioner Wallace did a very good job on that. I know we've got several projects or improvement requests that came in this week as well as today. I think I got some on that'll be coming in for approval this month to the Executive Finance Committee. I don't have the list of those in front of me, but there'll be some coming forth this month. So that's all I have to report. If there are any questions.
Any questions? Councilman Bowser?
Michael, you're probably aware we had a bridge to wash out there on the Leach Kenwood Road. That's an IRR route. Is there any way that you can get any emergency funds to help the county commissioner do that? I don't have, and Curtis didn't have any funds in our discretionary funds to help him with. But I remember 2 years ago we did a bridge on one of the IRR routes up there, and we did come up with some dollars to fix the bridge. And I looked at the culverts today, and actually it needs a bridge across there. I don't know if we could build one for $150,000 to $200,000. You know, that's probably the way we need to go. But I request that you take a look and see if you can actually help them from that project. I guess in the meantime, you know, you just have to put some dirt or whatever needs to be done. So it's a single lane road to go to there right now. So call me if you can help, or let me know what you can find out on give you some emergency funds.
Okay. I'll do that. That particular road that Councilor Buzzard is talking about is a road that we're looking at adding to our construction priorities this year. We're still in the process of finalizing those a list of priorities, but we will be bringing those to committee and council at a later point once we narrow down the list and finalize the list. But that is one of them that we were looking at as an overlay project until this happened. And it is a very large drainage structure that's across the road that's washed out. About half the road is gone from what I understand, and it's probably, there's pipes in there now where they carried the water before, but obviously they weren't large enough or they were plugged up, one of the two. But it probably does need a bridge or some kind of box culvert in there. So I think, Mr. Buzzard, I think we can look into that, but I'll get back with you and let you know.
And this to fall, I'm just curious about the project over in Mays County, your project. I see you reported the right-of-way for that now.
We sure did. We did.
And they anticipate on the construction of that road.
We are looking, we're in the process of working with utilities right now and trying to get them on board really quick to start moving. I've had a lot of questions from residents, and I've been telling them around 6 months to get the utilities all moved. There's a lot of utilities out there on that project, a lot of water, a couple of different water districts we'll have to deal with, but telephone and power. I don't believe there's any gas out there. But anyway, there's quite a few utilities that we'll have to work through, but once those are out of there, we'll have it under construction. We're going to try to focus on the bridge portion first and let that contract before we let the road contract.
Thank you.
Next question, Hall.
Did you need any more information from Joe or I about what we talked about?
Don't need any more information, but I probably need to visit with you guys about some ideas that I have on to try to get those projects going. Maybe we can visit real quick after this. Be all right?
Councilman Fraley.
Harley stole my question, so no question.
Councilman Gregory.
Joe's Red Barn. They drove it Saturday. Looks great. What have we not done with?
There's some slope failures that are down through there where the slopes were a little too steep on the backside, and they started to slough off a little bit. There's there's just a lot of stuff out there that's probably not visible to the average person. Some side drains or culverts that are stopped up that need to be cleaned out. Some erosion, just general erosion that needs to be taken care of. Some seeding, sodding. I don't have the complete list here, but there's a lot of stuff. I've gotten a lot of compliments on the road from other folks, but for those of us that have worked on it for 3 years now, there's a lot of things that may not be visible to the average person, but I appreciate you thinking it looks good, but there's still a little bit of work left to do. We're working with the bonding company. They hope to have somebody out there to get that thing completely done before pretty quick, I hope. So this is a new process for me dealing with the bonding company, but so far they've been good to work with.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions for Michael?
Mr. Chair, I have one more.
Yes.
Michael, are you still working, or are you working with the Housing Authority on the housing addition roads?
We are.
And is there some more that's ready to be done? Or
We are. We got a batch of, I don't remember the exact number, it seemed like there was around 7 or 8 of them in the first batch, and that was where this Morning Star edition was included. We did get another batch that he's asked us to look into, and we're waiting on the environmentals to be completed on those ones.
Oh, thank you.
Councilman Cobb.
Can you check on that bridge project just west of Ramona?
Mm-hmm.
Just the last thing I got was they're waiting on a utility piece of pole being moved, and that's what's holding everything up. Can you just kind of see if that's actually the case?
I sure will.
Thanks.
Laura.
Michael, would you email us that list for the housing additions?
Mm-hmm. I'll get with
Where we are on the first set and
okay.
where the second set that's being brought up to. That's to do the second amount of money, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we've now got 2 pots of money.
2, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll get you that list.
And is there anything past that second list? Is there a third
Not that I've seen.
that will take care of all of the additions?
I can't say without looking, but I'll check and
If you
see.
would check, I'd sure appreciate it and let us know.
Sure.
Councilman Angle.
Thank you, Mr. Michael, did you ever get a hold of Ray Gordon on that project?
Scott took yes. Yes, I did. I think we're all set to go on that.
Okay.
So I think it got approved last month.
month.
Yeah, I think we're set to go on that Scott Took project.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, Michael? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Environmental program with Tom Elkins.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen. You have our written report, so I won't do any more elaborate on that, except to say on the first highlight on there that we did receive our treatment of state for our air program as an affected state status in that we proposed 5 pieces of trust land within our jurisdictional boundaries for this, and what that means is within a 50-mile radius of any of that land, anybody that does a major permit in any of those states has to notify us and let us comment on that. So that went through really well. We'd been working on that for many years now, and that just finally came through. It was kind of controversial, but it was a good deal.
Yes, Councilman Butler.
Did you say it was 50 miles around each air monitoring system, or?
Around each of those, what we did, we took, where we had legal description, if this was our jurisdictional boundaries, we took pieces of trust land in the areas closest to the borders and used those, submitted those as trust status for us that we wanted. It has to be trust status to where we can have treatment of the state for that. We submitted those parcels of land, so within a 50-mile boundary radii for each of those, anybody within Arkansas that those radii touch, Kansas, Missouri, those areas, or in the rest of Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, if they're doing a permit, federal air permit that was within any of those radii, they have to contact us.
So if they contact the state agency, we refer them to you?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's a really good deal.
Councilman Schultz.
Yes, that was my question, Thomas. Who triggers the notification? Is it actually the state or is it the EPA?
It'll be the feds that trigger it.
Okay, so it's actually the EPA.
Councilman Baker.
Can you get that for water as well? Sure.
We have it for certain parts of water. We have it for lead-based paint. We have it for certain parts of water, and we have it for air. But we don't have it for every type of every media, every part of every media. But we're working that way.
Any more questions for Tom?
If I may elaborate on the green policies that we've been doing, we're still meeting with that so-called green team, and I believe we'll have a budget mod in the next month or so that will allow us to purchase some things to. We found that we can do some of that recycling stuff in-house cheaper, more efficiently than we can if we went through a contractor. We've got some POs right now being set up with Georgia Pacific, so we'll be starting to take some of that there, and we'll be getting reimbursed for that paper and cardboard. So rather than pay somebody to take it, we'll be making a little bit of money off of it. So.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving down to old business.
Mr. Chair, since Councilor Watts is not here, I move to table both items 1 and 2.
A motion to table items 1 and 2. All in favor? Aye. Moving on down to new business. We got a resolution for Councilman Watts on the first.
I'll second.
Yes, Bill.
I think we have to move this to full council tonight, right? Is that correct?
And
I was going to ask if we might do that, please.
I would accept the friendly amendment to move to full council.
So right.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You move to full council. Moving on down to item 2. Resolution, Mary Fraley.
This request is to renew a lease in Kenwood on .04 acre tract that was granted to Salinas Fabino Telephone Company in the 80s. And they constructed a building on that tract to house and operate phone equipment and in an effort to improve service to the area. So I would move that we approve this resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Then item 4, okay,
Yes. I think everybody has a copy in front of them, but it's a resolution authorizing Boys and Girls Clubs of Delacroix, Green Country, Sequoia County, Delaware County, Nowata, Chelsea to participate and accept funding on behalf of the community from the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, programs for youth. administration and everybody's on board that they would be the best one served for this grant. And I not only make a motion to approve, but to move to full council tonight.
Second, with a friendly, that I be added as a co-sponsor in as much as it touches no other county.
Absolutely.
Bill?
Thank you. Mr. Baker, do you know any reason why the Bartlesville Boys and Girls Club is excluded from this?
Janice, can you answer for him?
To receive the Native American funding, you have to have 70% or more of your members that are Native American. And at this time, Bartlesville has not met that. But she said she is working on that because they're trying to reorganize up there and do it kind of differently now. But they have not done that in the past. Had 70% or more.
Thanks, Bruce.
Councilman Self?
No further.
Councilman Joe?
I'd like to add to the friendly that Chuck did, I'd like to sign on as a sponsor of this also, if I could.
That would be more than agreeable.
Thank you.
And Jody too. Oh, Jody's on.
Jody's on.
I think she was looking at me. Anybody else want to sign on as a sponsor of this?
I do.
Now,
You're already on it. Okay.
yeah, you're already there.
Okay.
We haven't yet. Call for the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, then announcements? All right. Yes.
I have one question, and maybe it's of you or Linda, on Dewey Alberti. Can you give us an update on it, or Linda could?
Linda, you want to?
On Dewey Alberti, you called me and just to follow up on it.
We did meet with Mr. Alberti just last week and discussed the situation with him, and he is realizing that the tract that he was wanting to do an easement to is not really feasible to do what he wanted to do on it. He is actually offering the land for sale if we wanted to buy it, and we told him we would kind of look into that to see if that's a possibility or not. And what he's really wanting is some kind of a little garden spot type thing, a little piece of land that he can do that. And this tract that he's got, this 10 acres that's surrounded by Cherokee Nation land, is all wooded like blackjack and stuff like that. And it's not even got a cleared spot on it. So it'd be very difficult for him to get in and even make the garden that he wanted to on it. So he's looking to see, and plus he lives in Broken Arrow. This is over towards Kenwood. It's not really feasible for that either. We're looking to see if we can find a piece of land that Cherokee Nation might have that might be agreeable for him to garden on, if we have anything that's spare that would be usable. So we told him we'd look into that, and we'd look into the possibility that if we could do the purchase of his property or not. So that's where we're on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alberti was kind of concerned. He didn't really realize what the difference, he was thinking easement and right-of-way was a different thing, and also he was concerned about the survey. And did you talk to him about those?
Yes, that he would need to have a survey for his, if we were to do a easement, he'd have to do a survey of the property that he'd want to cross. And so he understands about that, and we talked about the how a easement would be processed with him. Okay, thank you.
No, announcements. Announcements.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let me ask Doug if he wants something done with this right now or not.
Yeah, he called me. He called you about it too. I talked to him 2 or 3 times, trying to explain to him the process, trying to get him to go out and talk to him. That's what I was telling Joe. I think we're all around it. We might as well
Doug
just
passed this thing out, and it is mainly just for you to look at, and maybe it's going to come up in full council. Is that correct? And so if anybody has any questions, now would be a really good time to ask them.
Any questions from Doug?
Right, this is on the bond buyback authorization. And Jack was prepared to discuss it at full council and possibly amend Mod 7. Consent of the body. Speaker Fairley asked earlier if we needed to bring it up in a committee, so we avoided the situation of a bunch of questions at full council that we could go ahead and address earlier. But it is a attractive opportunity, as stated in the memo. It's an opportunity to buy back at 85, which represents 15% of the obligation of the debt that we have on our books. We could buy that to save 15%. These are longest term bonds that we have, 4.6%, and it saves $75,000 on the debt right off the bat, as well as about 10 more years of accrued interest on those obligations. It's real similar to what we did last year. Last year we did around $2.5 million, but we didn't retire those bonds. We bought them from a bondholder from one of our education trust accounts for motor fuels. And that trust account will be paid back principal and accrued interest over the life of the bond. This is slightly different in that we're going to go ahead and retire these bonds. So we'll save that accrued interest because.
Yes.
And we have sufficient funds to do this.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the suggested fund was the carryover that I briefly mentioned in the Finance Committee of third-party revenue. Now that the audit's been issued and the books are closed for last year, that number has been quantified. And although there will be a significant amount of carryover coming forward in the Finance Committee at the end of the month, we thought it prudent to go ahead and bring forth this $500,000 tonight, and the rest of it, along with the rest of the tribal gin fund, carryover in the Finance Committee.
Do we need a motion?
Councilman Jack Baker?
I was just going to comment the source of funding, which is Youngstown County. Thank you. Do we need a motion out of here? No, not on the floor.
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor of adjourn?
Aye.
All opposed?
And